She also worked on helping us identify our personality, as in like 5 different animals, how such as a dog, an owl, or a monkey. An owl like sit there and observe, and once in a while chime in. As the monkey,
just like this.
Yes, just like that. So as the monkey, you know, they like to meddle, they're creative, they like to throw ideas out there, and lion are more assertive and decisive. They tend to lead teams, so this is more like a team environment. And we're going to be working more about emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and project management.
Huge. Well, one of the things that it's all kind of related, talking about emotional intelligence, and the reason we do that is because it's so important to understand ourselves. This, if we look at all of this, is the very hardest, the self-awareness, because we've got, I like to say there are many hands that have built us, whether they're parents or grandparents or teachers or peers. A lot of people impact the way the person that we eventually become. Hi,
sorry.
have a seat. So the importance of that is for us to, and I've concentrated a lot on this. All of this, the characteristics, you know, it was kind of playful. We talk about, you know, the different animals and their different characteristics and who we identify with, and the fact that we're never always a lion or always a dog. We wander in and out of all kinds of different characters depending on the situation we're in, depending on the people we're with, depending on our age. I mean, all of this. Now, I will say that even at age 3, you can be a lion. You can be in charge. I mean, I've got a 4-year-old granddaughter, and if she says this is the way it's going to be, that's it. Just stay out of her way. This is the way she's going to do it. So we started out in a very playful way, talking about our characteristics and associating them with animal characteristics. But it's all part of a larger picture of who we are and being able to do the self-management. I'm concentrating a lot on self-awareness because that's the hardest part. And I'll talk a little bit later about it when we get the other groups, the other folks in the group. We're going to do a group exercise. It's going to take a lot of our time today, but I want you to know that, you know, okay, my whole thing is trying to get you in touch with your emotional intelligence, because more and more companies and more people are beginning to realize that that has a stronger impact on your upward mobility than your intelligence. And, you know, some people dispute that. You have to, I'm not saying, you know, you're a total dip and, you know, you're going to become the, you know, the president of the company. No, you've got to have the intelligence, or not maybe the most intelligent, but you have to have that additional emotional intelligence. And the emotional intelligence all comes down to this, your relationship management. When you can do this and still have the intelligence to think through problems and that sort of thing, then you're going to get to the top. Okay? But the most important thing is getting aware of yourself, and that's so hard. I mean, I've been working on this, and, you know, we're all a work in progress. You know, there are 90-year-old women that I used to work with. I was a volunteer. I've done a lot of different things, but always in the teaching field. And I worked with a senior residence, and I was the volunteer coordinator, getting people to come in and, you know, play the piano for them, lead songs, bring in their dogs, all of those kinds of things. But I did that because we wanted to keep these people's minds. You know, the longer your mind is active, you know, the longer you're going to stay alive, active. You know, there are people who are breathing who aren't alive. And there are people who are 27 who in their mind are 92. You know, if you don't keep it going, you know. But I had a volunteer, I love this story. I had a volunteer who was like over 80. I know she was over 80. She never told me how far over 80, but she was over 80. But she still kept her, I mean, she was this, I hate to go into, there are 3 complexes run by the state of Alaska. One was a bunch of like townhomes that was really pretty much independent living, but you know, kind of had like a room mother over them. And then where I worked was assisted living. People could still get around. They weren't quite in the nursing home. And then further away was the nursing home. So I had this one lady who would come over from the apartments every morning. She was there at 8 o'clock, and she would distribute the mail in our complex. And she was always had her makeup on, dressed, you know, her hair done, the whole 9 yards. And she comes into me one day with her little cart, and she's, like I say, over 80. She said to me, "Oh, I'm so sick of these organ recitals." And I knew we didn't have an organ. And I said to her, "Organ recitals?" She said, "Yeah, you know those old people. My heart doesn't work, my lungs don't, you know, function, blah, 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 blah." I mean, in other words, she was alive and well and moving, and all these other people were spending their whole time complaining about, you know, what hurt and what didn't hurt. Well, she said, they just need to get up off their asses and do something. And, you know, and that's true. They needed to, you know, be alive and get going. While we're waiting for the others and before we get involved, one of the things, for those of you who don't know me, I'm half Filipina and half Mexican. So the outgoingness that I have is from the Mexican side, obviously. My father was Filipino, and I'm first generation Filipino born in the States. On the Filipino side. On the Mexican side, I'm 4th generation born in the States. So there was, you know, but I understand Spanish. All of my, you know, when I'm around my relatives, which I have the, you know, happy ability to do this past New Year's, I can still pick up some of the Filipino, but you know, I just haven't been around it enough to remember it all, like when I was a little kid. And that would be one of the first things I would say to you: honor your heritage. Don't let the language go away, because you know what? We are becoming such a multicultural society that the more of those facilities that you have, the better off you're going to be. So, but I do training, leadership training, and I subscribe to a number of online magazines like Executive Tech and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And one of the magazines that I subscribe to is Diversity Executive, and they had an excellent article that I thought all of you should read, and it's about where are the Asian business leaders. And I think all of us who have the Asian heritage can identify with much that is said here, because I know that, like my father, who, I'll be honest with you, when I was your age, I was ashamed of my dad. And, you know, and now I'm ashamed of me for being ashamed of my dad, because even having lived here in the United States for 50 years before he died, sorry if I didn't. Oh, it's just reminding me that I have to be at AASuccess. Okay, so anyway, he spoke with a very heavy Filipino accent. He was a farmer. When his education in the Philippines, he was a tailor, but he came over here in the late 20s, and in the early 30s, mass production of clothing took place, and his tailoring kind of, his business dried up. So we went back to the family business of farming. So like a lot of times, if he came to the PTA meetings or whatever with my mom, who always went, my mother wanted to know what was happening. So that's where I come from. So when he'd go, he'd come in his clean farm clothes, but they were still farm clothes. They were still, jeans and a plaid, shirt, and and he always smelled of tobacco because he smoked a pipe, and and he wore work boots. And I was thinking, all my friends have fathers who come in their suits, and and they speak perfect English and all that kind of stuff. And then here comes my dad, and I kind of want to move away from him. And now I think, boy, how dumb I was, because my mother and father loved me. My mother and father gave me good values, taught me what, a higher being, I was raised Catholic, but, just gave me such a good basis to live from. And, when you get older, you find out, ooh, that girl's father came all dressed up in a suit, but he smelled of gin all the time. There's an alcoholic. Or, that one messed around with somebody else's husband or whatever. So now that I look back, now that I'm much, much older, I look back at those things, and I'm very happy that I have the background that I have, from the culture that I came from. So honor your culture. But, someone once told me, have been also involved with Asian American business group, and what you hear often is that we're kind of stuck with feet in both worlds, but you always want those feet to be planted strongly in both worlds, so you never give up one, but you always are able to move back and forth. And sometimes it's very hard, and it's hard for our parents too. Thank you. That's an excellent article. If you get it, I'm going to give you a chance to read it now while we're waiting for the others to come. But I really hope you'll have an opportunity to read it. It's 4 pages. When I printed it, it came out in this teensy little print, so I tried to make it a little bigger. But I think it's an excellent article, and I would like for you to, read it and kind of think about what they're saying there about our background. If they're not yet having it. Hi, how are you? Just
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
There should be formal on the reaction.
Okay.
We can read it.
Right. Well, we're giving everybody a chance to read the article. I was saying that I subscribe to a number of executive training magazines, and this is from Diversity Executive, and it speaks to Asian business people and how they
Asian business leaders.
Mm-hmm. or lack thereof. That's we're going to be doing something with at my organization very soon because we don't have a lot of Asian leaders, and I'd like to help them move to that place.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Completed exercise and example stuff. Did you do the questionnaire, or do you want me to do some questionnaire? Okay. Tuesday.
Did you all get a chance to read through that?
Yep.
Was there anything that rang true for you, or that you see, or have heard, or have seen from your experiences?
I was looking at the percentage of Fortune 500 board members, and the fact that it's less than 2%, I was actually really surprised to see that.
Mm-hmm. I'm at an agency where we have like 40% Asian. You know, I mean, it's huge. And we have like 2 executives that come from the Asian community. I'm going to be doing a similar course for my Asian compatriots. And you know, you're not supposed to show favoritism or anything, but I feel like we have to, because so many of us come from a culture where our parents, and I know like I say, not Filipino, I know my dad, there were plenty of times, I knew he was smart. I mean, there were, you know, times we'd talk about things, and my father never became a citizen because he felt like that was being disloyal to the Philippines. So he never became a citizen. But who was the one who would pick up the newspaper, read all of the political stuff, then sit my mother down, because you know she was a citizen, and tell her, Leonor, this is how we should vote. So it was my dad who, you know, read all this stuff, and my mother, I don't know if she did vote the way he told her, but she'd sit there and listen to it all, and she was a smart lady too, you know, but it was my dad that read all of the stuff. But when we'd go out any place, my dad was always very quiet, and, you know, and people would talk to him, and yes, sir, and, you know, a lot of times looking down and all that kind of stuff. And I'd always want to say, Daddy, look up! You know, but he wouldn't. I mean, that's just the way he was.
I think for the Caucasian Americans, their culture is more individualistic or opportunistic. On the other hand, the Asian one is more like for the group, the benefit of the group first.
Yes.
So they tend to be more obedient. Just an example, like if to give a job assignment, right, and then they will get you promoted, they probably will wait for the senior guy to say something first, and then they will, if no one, then they will like, okay, I will do it.
Hi.
On the other hand, the Caucasian American, they would just be like, hey, I want to do it, and then
We got a seat over here and one over here.
right here, they would say like, I want to do it, and they would take a challenge. And the management, they have to be fair to whoever like it's like first come first serve too. So they could just be doing that. And I'm not saying it's about the technical aspect of the Asian, because like the article said, they are very technical. They are trained to be technical. Like in school, they do well. However, doing well in school may mean they spend more time studying than other people.
Right.
So therefore, just interpersonal skill may not be as someone who socializes with other people more. You see what I mean? Like, it may not be as competitive as someone who go out and socialize. So
yeah, and everything that article says is what we have to get used to do. I have the benefit of having a very gregarious, you know, Mexican side of the family that said, okay, it's Tuesday, a good reason to have a party, you know, and get together. But the Filipino side, I mean, the difference, I even have like 3 cultures to take into you know, my being. Part of it, the Mexican side was loud, or partiers, or, you know, and then I go to a Filipino party and we eat and we talk and all that kind of stuff, but it's pretty quiet. I mean, nothing like what the Mexicans. And then the Americans, the Caucasians, are kind of somewhere in between depending on what culture they come from. But that's one thing we as Asians have to learn to do is, you're right, we've got to learn to be a little more assertive, because there are so many times that we have these wonderful ideas, but because we have been used to learning to do the group think, what's good for everybody, and whoever's the manager should be leading. That's not always true. I like to say we're all smarter together than any one person is individually. And so that means that there are times when you're a member of a group and the supervisor says, okay, we're all going to go down this hill and then turn right. And you know that there's a whole batch of, briar patches over there, and you don't say anything. And then after it all happens and you get to this point where you can't go any further because there's all these bushes and stuff you can't get through, and and the manager then says, well, did anybody know that it was like this? And then you say, well, yeah, I knew. And then they're going to get mad at you because you haven't said anything. So that's what we have to learn to do as Asian Americans, is to learn to be a little more assertive. Not, hey, stupid, we can't go down that way, there's bushes. It's, yes, we can. I always like, is there a, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm talking in half sentences. So instead of saying, yes, but, we say yes and. Okay? Yes, but. What is but? When you say but, what does that mean? Negative. Negative. You're everything, whatever they said, you've just said, okay, you said all that, but it's stupid. But it's not going to work. But if you say yes and, it's it's saying, yes, you said this, and I think it might be better to do this. You're adding to what they're saying instead of negating what they just said. So if you say yes, and if we, yes, we'll go down that path, and I think if we turn right, we won't run into the bushes if we turn, left. Oh, this is my right, this is my right. I still have trouble with that. I'm always telling my husband, turn right. And my husband, he's, Saberton, obviously it's not, it's not Long and it's not Ramos and it's, is a Caucasian, but he was building plants and stuff in China for 10 years. So, and his first wife was Filipina, and obviously, Filipina. So, he has a propensity toward Asian women. But because he spent that time, he's very familiar with the culture. I'm always late. He's got that English, German thing going on, and we're supposed to be there at 3 o'clock. By God, we're going to be there at 15 up. With me at 2:45, well, I'm going to be late. So, it's just, the different. Hi, come on in. So, anyway, what this article is saying is one of the things that we need to set our minds to is that we're, our families would tell us we're being aggressive. Our families would tell us, we're not supposed to be so assertive. And I'm telling you that if you want to get ahead in the American community, then you're going to have to look at it a different way. Okay? You're going to have to reset your thinking. And you're right. We've been taught to work as a group, and that's why manufacturing does so well in the Asian countries because, you know, the manager sets the plan and then everybody does what's been told, okay? But here, we expect you to be a little more individualistic and step forward a little more often. Say, you know, if you have a better idea, you say, yes, that sounds great, and I think we could even improve it by, okay? So we're always going to, every time you think yes, but, you're going to think yes, and. So you mention whatever they've talked about, but then you're going to improve it by saying, and we can, and we do the we speak. No. I think it's better if we do it this way. No. Your Caucasian counterparts are their standards, and you know we all. There's nobody. Emotions are emotions. We all have them. We all get sad. We all get happy. We all get angry. It's a part of being a human being. But the important part is then going on and being able to recognize it. We're going to talk a little bit later about this, and then controlling it. I've spent. This is my third time here?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm spending a lot of time in this area because before you can get to any of the social or any of the relationship management, you have to learn how to take control and recognize yourself. Like, I'll give you one last example and then we're going to go to our exercise, okay? My first husband used to, I was married, you know, before, and I had a case of breast cancer, and my first husband decided he couldn't take the stress of my illness, so he left. So that's why I got divorced. I was married for 29 years, but so I'm telling you that because I think everybody goes through some hard times, you know, but it's what you do with it afterwards, you know. I've had people tell me, oh my gosh, I would still be in bed crying. This is like 18 years later. I might as well be dead if I'm going to do that. I have no time to be messing with that. So, I'm remarried. I'm happily remarried, by the way. But the point of all that is that you have to make sure that you're aware of, you know, when someone says something about my ex-husband, there are some times when I know that I should be able to, you know, not get emotional about it, but I still do. Yeah. One of the things he used to say to me is, because he too was from that Germanic English thing. Gosh, there's a connection there, isn't there? But he would say, you know, we'd be talking about something, and he'd say, and I know that this would set me off. He'd say, you're not being logical. And I would just go into the stratosphere. It would piss me off so bad. And I'd try to bring myself, you know, here so that I'm, okay, that's not going to upset me. I'm going to calm down. And, you know, a lot of times I could do that. But sometimes I just go straight to the stratosphere. Just nothing could stop me because, you know, it just, I wasn't here to be able to be here. Okay? I wasn't controlling myself. And, you know, even though I've studied all this crap, I've got, you know, certificates that say I know how to do this, but I'm a human, you know, so we all do that kind of. So, see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Perfect. Okay. What's going to happen is I'm going to give these cards. I'm not going to give them. You're going to choose which one you want, and you must perform whatever is on this card.
Oh.
Okay? No, it's not, you know, nobody's going to get naked or anything. What's going to happen is we'll have one group here, and one group here. you will be I'll be giving you instructions, and you can read them. And then you're going to be doing whatever is said. But I need one of you young ladies to switch places with this gentleman. Okay.
Which one is young?
Be nice.
Don't break
Okay. And then I'd like you to come over and switch to this. And I want a mix of men and women. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay. Pick one. Okay. Yeah.
What are you laughing at?
Okay.
Girls and guys.
Yes, I want an equal mix of girls and guys.
Girl.
Sure, but don't show. Okay, you want to answer?
And then there's Jay.
It's okay, Jay.
Girl and guy.
Oh, you're all by yourself. Oh, no, it's okay. Okay.
You're just fabulous.
Wait, we need one more for.
No,
No,
Danny
that's
gets
not-
one. Okay. In this group, who has the supervisor?
Would be me.
Okay. And over here, who has the supervisor?
Let's go.
Over here? And who has supervisor over here? Okay. All right. Let's see. Pick a number between 1 and 5.
3.
2.
Okay. 1. Okay. 5. Okay. You choose first. You have a choice of this box, and this bag. No. Good question. The answer is no.
I like that. Nah, get a bit of
Okay. All
Size
right.
matters.
All right. You were 1, so you're next.
Is it the outside side? Inside.
All yours.
That's what you do with it.
Okay. Don't open them. Don't open them. Okay. So.
Yes.
Alright. Enough for everybody?
Not, we can share.
Let me pass.
Okay, alright. Alright. Okay, three I may have to.
You guys can share amongst yourselves.
Awesome.
We can hold that.
Okay. Yes, you over there?
Good job, Lisa.
Okay. You're gonna have to, oh, were you the supervisor?
Yes.
Okay. The young lady just came in. You're now going to, unless, Dave comes in. So you are going to pass this box to somebody. Okay, you guys all have a chance to read this.
Anybody in the team, just hold on to it.
I've done it.
No.
Yeah, just hold on to it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can with this. I think I think it's in teamwork or negotiation. Maybe teamwork, right?
Oh man, last time Jake's team won.
Yeah, prize for this.
Prize gets to give everyone coffee.
It's not about salt, though.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Everybody had a chance to read this?
Yeah.
Okay.
You Google.
Huh? No Googling. No Googling. Good try, but no Googling. Okay, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna, give each of you a section to be able to build your construction. You can use these to build it, okay? And anything that's in the box. You may not go outside of the room to get other articles. You may not use other things than the tape, the
What about the bag?
3x5 card.
Look at Bob, we don't
And-
yeah, I know.
Anything that's given to you can be used to construct your building.
We overdid.
Okay? Now, one of the things that I want you to realize that you are going to be judged on this, okay? You'll be judged on height, aesthetics, and hurricane proofness. Okay?
Oh,
That's earthquake, that's right. So, what's going to happen is that Tree and I are going to observe your interactions, okay? You're not supposed to be sharing what's on your little card other than the supervisor, and you're the supervisor. You are the supervisor. So the supervisor is in charge, okay? The rest of you do whatever is on your card, okay? All right, so you are going to have 20 minutes to construct this building, starting now, and everybody must participate. Okay?
Maybe speak to the table.
Pardon?
Can the building?
Structure? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Okay, you guys go together then. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay. You can do whatever you want to. You're not supposed to be sharing what is on your card.
Any kind of building, right?
Alright,
first, I
they're gonna have to use this other house.
one family will be larger. So this topic is will be done.
Yeah.
Let's get 5 them into one like this.
That's so generous.
Let's have 5 them into one. I mean, we will have less cards, but small. We haven't
I'm thinking.
But we only. You don't have in your cars. We only provide.
The negative guy, the positive guy.
Oh, hey.
I was not jealous.
20 minutes, so 19 now.
You know what you do? Fold it and then press it down. Because if you fold it like this.
Wait, so
bend it on one
let's take 5 guns, gonna have into one,
basically four pressure
and start building it.
and do it down.
Like, do this like, you know,
Yeah, that's up to you guys. Yep. Yeah.
do it like this. Oh, yeah, like COVID.
Should we do a long again? I don't know.
Fold. Oh, can you do 1 and 2?
Remember, all of you are supposed to be participating. If one of your members does not participate, you'll get a minus
But
point
5
for that.
It's all like
You know, I think oh, you know what? This is really good. I get
before they're around. You just did it.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't.
They got the outer side.
No, you're gonna be.
You can't
stand it right.
Let's build a structure like this. I don't think we need to.
Oh, drop shot.
Yeah. And the basis they have their paperback. Yeah.
Yeah, she might.
There should be,
Yeah.
Are we allowed to use it?
Oh.
yes, you're allowed to use scissors.
Something like.
You should have scissors, tape, and how many scissors do you guys have over here? One,
Wait, that was another.
Oh, we got two more.
But they can't peek at us.
I'm saying keep doing the cost, so it's
We don't get allowed to building.
You don't have to.
Oh, so you have more.
There is allowed to use
Yeah, a little bit more. We'll try to get.
You're allowed to use everything that was given to you.
And I can wrap this around it, so it's up to you guys. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, that's true.
Who's
Something more pretty, right, guys?
Yeah.
I don't know, amazing.
It's terrible.
Put the copy down. Why don't we just have don't cut them yet, don't cut them yet. We'll cut them when we need it.
Oh, we don't have to.
No, we cut them when we need it. We'll cut it now.
Oh, wait, what's this? Why don't we take this?
Make sure you do 5, you know, like all the.
Yeah, you're right.
Is that the view?
Stick with this.
When we select 5.
Wait, where's the beaver? Do the other side too. You know, that's really slippery.
We can take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Whatever. I don't know.
Can we take it? I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could be the roof.
One is
Or you can do.
Jenny, what you doing over there?
Oh, how much time do you have?
12 minutes.
Oh, okay.
That's 12.
12 minutes.
Make sure you have a plan explaining why you did what you did.
Wait, but that's the slide. Yeah.
No, keep it like that.
Alright.
Can do it in the car. Can you like count 5?
If you put this in the 4 pieces, you can hold that more.
Yeah,
that's fine, but, I mean, they always do it.
Yeah.
We can still have this to wrap.
I mean, continue doing what you're doing, it'll be the same.
You gotta wait.
Yeah, let's just use this too. We'll just tape stuff on. Let's just keep adding stuff to it.
Can you do it vertically?
So we can do it.
Yeah, you can put it.
This is like,
Yeah, so
On LAN.
So you want to put this one? So we're still working on this.
yeah.
you can use.
Yeah.
And then you have one here, 2 pieces here, everything else, then you have.
Okay, let's try to make this high as we can.
Corner.
Excuse me, management is just called and they say they need the project sooner. You now have 5 minutes instead of 10 minutes left.
These have to be realistic. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. That's on there. Now, I'm gonna put this like this. Push the other way.
Hey, we're making a building. Join our team.
Oh my gosh. The whole point of setting it is so that.
Oh, yeah, we have 5 minutes.
Let's put the other way.
Alright, so let's make
Then the corner.
Yeah.
Let me show you. It doesn't.
And then we have enough for the walls, right?
I think it has to be stronger.
Make it really
Really tall. Not that tall.
And then, I think we have a smaller one.
That's, you want all of them to be the same at this height.
Right? Good like that. Yeah.
That one's too tall.
We have some now.
We have this.
You get this?
Just put this in there. I don't think we have any time.
Wait, do we hit the wall?
Yeah, it's big.
Oh, make like a bow. Oh yeah, it's quite tight. Is that
Yeah,
more
oh,
decoration?
No, we usually wrap around it to make sure it stays together.
Tiffany Rock.
There you go.
Ooh, so fancy.
I know, it's gonna cover it up with
Oh no.
Production line now.
Okay, you wanna go?
Make some of the numbers.
They'll
I'll say the face of danger
Let's tie to the top. We can mother nature.
Wait, just, we don't have time. We can do this instead.
Oh, that's good. So we're just trying to make like a really yeah.
Wow! This is nice!
Based on the height too.
You
said it's high too, right? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High and static.
We should just drop this thing like brown. Yeah, just like glue it right
The highlight.
here. Right here.
Okay. Oh, wait, are we going to?
I think they probably.
We're gonna have to.
Okay.
Okay. So what do we do with these?
We don't.
So random.
Yes.
Yeah, just look like that.
Hurricane. That's our piece of our.
Oh.
2 minutes. What is that?
Oh, that's smart.
Now look. I don't know. We're missing something.
Hey. Actually, we made too much of a nice of a bow. I don't want to mess that up. Let's just put it right here.
No, wait.
The COVID is move in, right?
Let's have this.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't care. That's COVID. We have to It's fine. No. She might let. Yeah. She. We have a puppet.
That's fine.
Look, we don't have a flower.
I think it's stable enough.
If we wrap it again.
So we focus
Yeah,
on.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna crush it.
Remember, you have to protect the music.
Use this part.
No.
This one is stronger.
All right.
What's that on top of it?
Yeah, these are building's pretty.
There's a space here, or you can put something in there. So how about this one? How about this in here?
Yeah, that's wide open. What do you do with this?
Let's destroy it open. I don't even think it's
Maybe we get more points.
It looks like a as long as it meets the criteria.
Time.
Okay, stop building. Yeah, done.
Okay, that's nice.
That's an antenna.
What's gonna fall now?
What the hell? This is so fair. Wait, what happened to the paper bag?
I was trying to do something.
No.
I think that's fine.
Thumbs up, guys.
This is a phone. Dude, this is supposed to be the closest to the house. This is supposed to be the house. Why did you put a paper bag?
Oh, okay. So do we need to present it? Okay.
All right.
Guys, you guys should
If we could all please gather around, we're going to view each of our,
We should take a picture.
You're going to be like,
Building by
this
AASuccess.
information,
Yeah, sure.
okay?
Size doesn't matter, guys.
That's not what you said earlier.
So, we've got 19 inches there.
That's more than a foot long, okay, guys?
Thank you. We've got some lovely flowers, as you can see, to decorate the aesthetic value. Can everyone see this? Our aesthetic value on our...
We would like to call it that spot.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Very
Very. Ooh, write it down, I'll remember it. Okay. Oh my goodness, there is more decorations over here.
I see mold. This is moss.
Okay.
Sustainable.
All right. So now we'll move to our next.
Oh, we're not gonna do the hurricane?
Everybody get the hurricane dress test at the end.
That thing is not made for hurricane.
Yeah, that's nice.
It may have size, but it doesn't withstand the force.
Yeah.
What if I cut the tip? Is that thing not fun?
No.
Why does your house have like suspenders?
Okay, excuse me. All right.
It's like a bridge.
Oh my, look at this. I like the use of all of the material, or most of the material.
We use all of it.
All right.
Oh,
So,
what's that going to do?
Dirty workstation though.
That's not about cows, right?
26 inches.
Wait, this is not a house, this is a chimney.
Whatever that is, that's a
Yeah, it's all part of the edifice. So we're good there. Very nice.
How the cow is little, they just.
Oh, the flower on the top. I see it. Oh my God. Oh, this is interesting. Yes. Oh, wonderful, wonderful one.
For all conditions.
Yeah,
All
okay.
conditions.
Okay. So,
What is it, but then?
Why is there a money bag on the side?
Wait. Don't they have to use? Don't they have to
We see you. We see you.
what?
Don't they have to use
Actually,
the?
point.
Say it.
I mean, for this.
Look how elegant it looks.
Yeah, inside the box. Now, here's the deal. You were told that you could use anything that was given to you. You were not, you were not, it didn't necessarily mean you had to use everything, nor did it mean that you had to use or cut up or do anything. I like the fact that these two used their containers. Okay? Well,
Excuses.
okay. This one was 15. Okay? All right. So next we have to decide on aesthetics. Okay? You may not vote for your own. Okay? So that means you'll be voting on one of the others. So we'll start with number 3 over here. If your building falls apart before the hurricane test. Okay? All right. So you can't vote for this one. All right. You. All right.
I screw.
Dave's gonna kick me out of here pretty soon. Alright. Alright, so, show of hands for this one, which is number 3. Show of hands.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Voting for
you're gonna
aesthetics.
vote for aesthetics for either this one or this one. You may not vote for your own.
I think the book looks better.
You want this, you want the vote thing.
Yeah. Is it a team vote by person?
No, by person.
Individual voting
Individual
for
voting for
aesthetic of each
for
one
the
of these.
aesthetics,
You can only
whether
vote
this
once.
one or this one. Only vote once, yes. Okay, you're giving, okay, we've got one vote here.
Give it to the board, guys. Give it to the board. You have to vote, right?
You have to vote.
See?
And only once for aesthetic value.
Alright,
Raise the line, no halfway doing it.
strategically, that's
Give it the board. Yeah, give it the board.
because
Okay, 1, 2,
3, 4, 5.
Six, right? Six, yeah.
All right,
Alright.
now,
How about me on?
yeah, all right. Listen, okay, over here, now, you guys can't vote. You guys, all your votes are out, so, okay.
Abstain, abstain.
This one?
Yeah,
Okay, 1, 2, okay.
They have to have four.
Yeah, split up.
For aesthetics, either this one or that one.
That's cool. I think the one with flowers.
Oh,
Well, each of them look like they're coming.
Yeah, each of them-
Look, we vote for you. We vote for you, right? You know what to do. Hey, it's like a wall. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so.
Hey, no fixing.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay, so now, no, this was the highest, all right,
Yeah.
so, so you guys lost.
Oh.
All right, so, looks like this team won.
Yes.
Okay, for aesthetics, we got this one over here.
Wait, I didn't. How many was over here? 3. Only you guys voted?
Yeah, we voted.
Oh, so it's 4.
Wait, that didn't have
Oh,
five.
you voted for
They
that?
voted for
They
us.
all voted.
Oh,
So
they
we're
voted for
5,
that.
they 5. We're equal.
Yeah, we
We still have 5 people.
Yeah.
Yay!
Active lose.
Yay! Okay, so,
Between this one and
this
that
one
one.
and this one.
Hey, you can't be fixing your house.
Which one?
Never broke.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, we haven't done the hurricane.
Here we look.
Oh,
They broke without hurricane.
All right,
So
Dave.
we're blue.
We need a tying vote, it's between this one and this one.
That's
Yeah.
what forward house. Wait, but there's right. That's all.
That's a
Oh, it doesn't break
This,
it.
this one is not innovative. It's like a flower. It's like a box. It has something on
That's all we were giving.
it. This can be interpreted in different ways. It can be a building,
Woo!
okay? And it can be a car. It can be a truck.
Okay, all right, so now for the hurricane test.
Oh, God.
Right?
Oh, God.
How you gonna do that?
She's gonna smash it.
Oh, my. No, we're not gonna do that. There's more. Okay, ready?
Oh.
All right, everybody
That's
slow.
good.
Ready? Go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No, I got this, but it bounced off of that. All right,
Tiffany box.
ready? Go.
Watch.
Alright, can I get you all to have a seat now? Was that fun? It was really, okay, but it's not that fun. It is fun. It's fun looking at, the different parts,
I'm sitting over there.
that all of you, participated in. Alright, here's the deal. There were times, we were looking at things so that, all of you had your, different little cards that told you to do stuff, right? Some of you were staff, that means just you were a worker bee. Some of you were supervisors, some of you were supposed to be disagreeable. Okay, some of you were supposed to agree with everything. Of the 3 managers, 3 supervisors, did any of you establish a plan before you got started?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. It was right before we made it.
You made a plan?
Yep.
Okay. Did I make a plan? That kind of sounds like a no. All right. Jen? Yes. I listened at one point and you were giving the guys some direction. That was really good. And the thing that I liked too about you is that you took direction, actually I think from Danny at one point. Okay? That was good. I also liked the way that you guys asked questions.
okay? That is necessary when you're working on a project. You know, this was a fun project, but when you're at work or when you're at school, there are going to be projects, and you have to be ready to ask questions. You know, why are we doing this? How is that going to get accomplished? Okay? In this group over here, I didn't hear so many questions. Okay? So think about that when you're working on things. Let's see, Lon. At one point, I listened to you, and you explained why something would not work, and it was very good. I mean, it wasn't just, no, we're not going to do it. It was, no, we're not going to use that, or no, we're not going to put it like that because they're uneven. It wouldn't work. So that's a good managerial action, explaining why something would or would not work. Okay? And then you guys, like I say, were awfully quiet. And there were times when I saw some people not participating. Okay? When we work on a group project, everybody has to contribute. Everybody has to help work on something. Danny, at one point toward the end, I saw you kind of, you actually physically kind of moved yourself away and weren't participating. You got to think about, why did you do that?
Actually, like well, I actually usually follow the direction, but I don't usually like socialize with people what much I am. So for example, I know behind, I would be like, get used to people, but I know get to know someone new. I was like, I thought pocket a little.
So I think what I'm hearing you say is that if you
like
kind of put out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, it's kind of like how my league is. So.
And what I'm saying to you and to the rest of you too is that sometimes we have to step into that out of your comfort zone. So at first you were very good about participating, and then as things got a little hectic.
Yeah, let it go.
Yeah. Right. You kind of moved away. So those are kinds of things that I want you to think about when you're working in group projects. I also asked Trey to, kind of observe you guys. Do you have anything to add?
No, you pretty much hit all of what I also observed as well.
Chicken. Okay. All right. So thank you very much for participating. I know that for some of you it really pushed you out of the comfort zone. I brought really expensive stuff, so I wanted to get rid of it. So we're going to spend the next few minutes talking about emotional intelligence. And I told you at the beginning, I'm spending a lot of time here in the self-awareness and self-management. What emotional intelligence helps you do is build stronger relationships, succeed at work, and achieve your career and personal goals. I think I told some of you who were here earlier that when it comes to happiness and success, sometimes emotional intelligence gives us more of a benefit than our intellectual intelligence. Okay? Because we have to get over here to this relationship management. And did everyone get the article from Diversity Magazine? I think you did not, right? Okay, yeah. I'd like you all to read it and keep it and think about it and highlight sections that you know you're doing now. Okay, because we're trying to get past that. All right. Can I get all of you to...
We're the ones that ask if they can use the box, not being inside the box.
Right, yeah. Okay, can I get you to take one and pass them around, please?
Sure. Don't try to ride the wave.
Oh, I'm going to spend my whole time asking questions. Can you take one of those and pass them around, please? Actually, there should be, you should have 2 handouts. Okay? Alright. Yeah, your house is tilting. I'm sorry. That hurricane just blew this little sucker over. Alright, so what I've talked about so often is recognizing your own emotions. Okay? In the exercise that we just did, were there any times when you guys felt like you were getting angry or anxious or frustrated with anybody who, I mean, you don't have to say who, just, you know, or you felt like somebody wasn't participating or was participating too much, or, yes? No? Yes? Mm-hmm, okay. Yeah, and, you know, that's not so strange, because we're all human beings. We all have those emotions that are, you know, running around through us. But were you able to recognize when that was happening to you? Yes. And how were you able to recognize that?
I mean, it was pretty obvious when the team member wasn't doing much, so I just kind of go over and ask them to do stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good. If you thought about the next step would be actually saying, you know, I need some help doing this.
I get on the past to do this.
Yes. Good. Good. And you were with this group here.
Yeah, I will with that.
That group over there. Okay. All right. So that's really important that you recognize when you're feeling something like that. Okay? Because that's the hardest part, is knowing when something is bothering you or something needs to be, you need to push yourself out of that comfort zone. It's not so unusual. I'm going to be, today we're still going to be over here. Next time I come, we're going to talk about moving to the other side, okay? Working with the social stuff. All right, so if we go to the next page, raising your emotional intelligence. As I said, emotions are normal. Besides anger and happiness and anxiety, what other emotions can we feel? Stress, yeah. Excitement. Mm-hmm. Sad, yes. Confused. Uh-huh. Yeah. All of those are emotions that we can encounter every last one of those every single day. Okay. So if any information that comes to you that's either stressful or emotional or overwhelming, something that really takes you out, that's when we can do the fight or flight. You guys familiar with that? Okay. Instead of, and what happens is that your brain, that's instinctual. It's right here at the base of your little old heads. Okay, it's sitting here, and if something aggravates you or something like that happens, you automatically, back from our caveman days, run into that fight or flight stuff. Can any of you give me any examples of when that's happened to you? When you felt like you were overwhelmed and all you wanted to do was run away, or you wanted to argue with someone?
Finally, through school.
Yeah.
Pulled over by a cop.
Yeah. That's it. That'll do it to you. Anything else? How about parents or siblings? Okay.
No self-incrimination.
Yeah, right. But see, all of those things happen to us on a regular basis. And what I would like you to do on your sheets. Does everybody have pencils, pens? Or pass those around, please. What I'd like you to do on that particular area where it says raise your emotional intelligence, I want you to write down on your papers some time or that was stressful or overwhelming that you recognized that you were doing the fight or flight or not being in control of your emotions. And you don't have to share this with anybody. It's just I want you to think about a time and write it down. Because when we write it down, that means we've recognized it. You know, it's something that's real to us. Does everybody have a pen? No? Do we need some? Alrighty, alrighty.
How many more pens do you guys need? 3?
Oh, there's plenty.
Everybody have one? Yes? Just take a second. If you want to, you can share it, but you don't have to. I just want you to think about and write down a time when something emotional, stressful, overwhelming happened to you, and you didn't take control of it. You wanted to either fight with a person, or you did fight with a person, or and fighting doesn't mean, necessarily that, I mean, with a cop, yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, mostly flight, right? Yeah, I was pretty pissed off when I got my ticket too. Okay, so anyway, so think about that, and when you, either wanted to run away, did run away, or fought, disagreed with, and sometimes disagreeing with is the speak to the hand thing. You know what that is? They used to say, speak to the hand. In other words, I'm not going to talk to you.
Oh.
Yeah. Speak to the hand. In other words, kiss my.
Like you told
Yeah. See? Okay, speak to the hand. Don't talk to me. I'm not talking to you. That's still another way of saying, that's still a way of fighting with someone. So, okay, so I want you to write that down. I want you to be aware of it so you can kind of think about how could you have done it differently. Everybody write something down already? No? Do it. Do it or else you don't get to go home. Okay, so now you're aware of, and that's what I want you to be able to do, is to recognize your emotions and do an accurate self-assessment. Sometimes you're with your, friends or whatever, and you say, I'm not mad. Does this body language tell you that I'm not mad? No, I mean, I'm all tight, just really. Okay, and the tone of voice, the tone of voice, my face, everything about me says, I can say I'm not mad till the cows come home. But the body language, the tone of voice, the eye contact, if I scrunch my eyes and just look at you like, I hate your bloody guts, right? Okay, so you have to know how to accurately look at yourself and decide, am I going there, right? Am I going to that point where I'm not taking control, okay? And you've got to know your strengths and weaknesses. Remember how I told you how I'd go into outer space when I was told I wasn't being logical? I mean, I know that's what I know when I'm told that, I'm, to the moon, Alice. You guys are too young to understand that, but that is what happens. And what our main goal is to be able to identify what's setting us off, right? And sometimes you think it's just a person. It's not just a person. It's that you're letting that person know, or that person does know, what ticks you off. Like, do you think my ex-husband knew that would piss me off? Am I supposed to say pissed off in front of you guys?
That's okay.
Okay. I mean, you're all old enough, I think. So, I mean, he knew that I would be angry if he said that to me. But, we were at that tug of war point. And so, yeah, he would say it. And that's not to say that I didn't say things that, I mean, rarely. When I say anything to tick him off. But anyway, the thing is, we have to get in control of our feelings, our impulses, and our behaviors. When, like, this is a very comfortable stance for me when I'm talking, or especially when I'm sitting. I do this quite often. But if those arms are so tight that, that I'm pushing my breast out my rib cage, that means I'm really, I'm so tight. So, what you need to do is learn what kind of bodily things you do. Like, some people will start looking. Some people will take things and pretty soon you're seeing it. And do this, and it gets louder and harder. I used to have a manager that used to do that. And when his little pen went going, I thought, oh crap, we're not going to be able to get anything else done, because he's, out in outer space. He's so angry, he's not going to listen to anything that anybody says. And usually our deputy would say, well, I think maybe we'll table that and go to the next issue so that he can calm down. Or we just call a halt to the meeting, because when that little pen started just knocking away, he was, and that was a cue to all of us. So we knew. So then we are, empathizing with him, or not necessarily empathizing, but at least recognizing his cue. Okay. So what I'm saying to you is, and there are all kinds of cues that we have. You might sweat. Some of you might, when you're getting anxious or angry, you might start sweating. Or you might start fiddling with something, getting a paper clip or something like this and start messing with it, tapping your fingers. You might, people cry, right? When you get past the point that you can't take hold of your emotions anymore, you start crying. There are all kinds of, or breathing harder. Have you ever seen someone when they're getting anxious? Right? I mean, that's an exaggeration, but you see people doing those things, and that's when you need to come over here and recognize, okay, that's their cue that they're over the edge. But before you get to the point where you recognize everybody else's cue, you need to start looking at what your cue is. Think that, this is what I want you guys to do, is to, when you go home tonight, try to think about those things, because once you recognize those things, then you can start telling yourself, I'm getting anxious, I'm getting angry, I'm getting, whatever. Sometimes you cry for happy, right? Right? That happens too. But these are the things that you need to be able to do to be able to move on and be in control of yourself. Okay? And memory is linked to your emotions. Can you think of something that when you were a kid that was done for you or to you that puts you into a state of either anger or happiness or... Yes? No? Yeah? Can I get an example or two? Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean,
I used to, whenever I want to pretend to cry or something, I make like sick puppies.
Yes. Yeah, he's controlling his emotions in a negative way, but nonetheless, yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, when you know how some people say, okay, go to your happy place. Do you know what that means? When somebody says, go to your happy place, what they're saying is, think of something that relaxes you and makes you happy. So, like, when I was 3 years old, my godfather took me out to a tree and pulled him down, and I know, dude, and made me a little house, and I remember that. I was 3 years old, and I can still remember that. And that's my happy place. Okay, so to improve your responses and your decision making, you first have to understand. That's what this is all about. That's why I keep on coming back to this in the emotional intelligence point, is that you have to understand what gets you going or what stops you, okay, from moving forward, and then managing that. And mainly we're talking about anger or aggression, but also that, remember how you were talking about the group think? That so many Asians think in the group think and do not take that assertive step forward. Do it not using even the yes but just going along into our brighter paths that we talked about earlier. Now we have to remember to say yes and. Okay, so that's an emotion too. Fear, or you not being able to be assertive. Okay, making sure that you recognize when you're shutting yourself down. And we do that so often. We say, that's not really a good idea. I mean, we do all kinds of crazy things in our head. You know, we say, oh, they're not going to like that idea. I'm being too pushy. I'm being, that's our cultural thing. That's the cultural thing. Or a mother who says, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not, you won't make a good wife, you won't make a, you don't know how to sew, you don't know how to cook. Yeah, okay, who cares? What you have to think about is, okay, what can I do? What positive things can I contribute? Okay? And sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes what we say and put forward is not the best thing, but at least you've offered it. And that's what we as Asians need to think about. Too often, we hold ourselves back by not making the offer. And because so few Asians do that, those of us who do it are considered smarter than you. Is that craziness? It's just because we're doing something cultural that is of the American, way of doing things. So, like I said earlier, we have to keep our feet planted in both. Take from our culture and appreciate it, but know that we're in a different culture and they do things differently, and we have to adapt to those differences. Okay? And all of this about the emotional intelligence and about being able to move forward is about communication. Okay? So that's what we're talking about. Remember how we did the little exercise where you showed me, bad verbal skills and bad body language and all that kind of stuff. All of that is part of the communication process. Okay? So, someone mentioned stress being something that, yes, thank you. What we need to do when we're looking at these things is we need to reduce our stress so that we can, use those things. So that if you look at your little handout, when you find yourself in the process of letting that stress get to you, or you know that stress is coming, we're going back to recognizing yourself. Okay, you want to make sure that you try to, you have to tell yourself sometimes to shut up. Okay, sometimes you have to tell yourself, okay, stop thinking of yourself in those negative tones, right? Oh, my mother said I wasn't smart enough to be able to offer answers. You know, and you have to say to mom in the head, shut up. Now it's my turn. My turn to move forward. So we have to stop and calm down. Sometimes it's taking a deep breath. Sometimes it's telling whoever you're interacting with that, you know, let me think about this. And always remember to calm yourself down to talk to them. Let me think about this and I'll get back to you later today. You know, be specific on when you're going to get back to them and do it, because, you know, trust has to first be a verb before it can be a noun. You have to act trustworthy for them to trust you, okay? And you've got to think about, when you're in a stressful situation or you feel stressed, you have to think about ways to help you bust that stress. What would you do to stop yourself from being stressed?
Play video game.
Play a video game, yeah. If it calms you down.
Plan things.
Yes, good.
Plan things better.
What?
Plan things better.
Yes, plan things better. Yeah.
Stay focused.
I'll take a walk.
Yes, yes, yes.
I actually work much better.
Go to the gym.
You work better than what?
I'm stressed out.
You know, that's kind of, there's,
I'm usually not stressed out, so when I'm stressed out, like everything is like done.
Why is that? That's 3 students who said that to me. And he's the 3rd one. But I confirmed the other 2 students. So I want to know the answer.
That's called eustress. There's good stress and there's bad stress. When you're de-stressed, distressed, okay, that's when things are so bad you're either going to start hyperventilating or something like that. And then eustress is the thing that makes you move forward. You know, I've got a timeline. I think I told you earlier, I'm a procrastinator. So if I don't put my little phone, I mean, it almost tells me when I'm going to go to the bathroom. I put down everything in here so that it buzzes at me. You know, I remember earlier how it was buzzing at me. It was saying, get started on your class, because, you know, we can do other things. But yeah, that's good stress.
So that's the hardest part for me, like getting to that stress level. So that I can actually start students.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if he recognizes it and uses it in a productive way, that's good. I mean, you know, sometimes we use stress to help us be more forthright. You know, I mean, you know, we've talked a lot about our culture being one that is more reserved. And sometimes using something like that, eustress, well, for him it's eustress, for others it might be de-stress. But what it does to you is it makes you make that step forward, forces you to go forward. That's great. Thank you for saying that. Appreciate it. Okay, you guys gave us great examples about how you would bust your stress. But you know, some of you will go into distress and be super quiet. What you need to do is do something active, like somebody said walk. Who said walk? Yeah, that's it. I mean, sometimes that good heavy walk, run, basketball game, so you push somebody around, you know, is what you need to do to get yourself out of that distress, because some of you need to quiet down. I think a shower. When my 2 girls were going through their preteen, I thought I would kill them both. I didn't think they were ever going to make it to 13. And what I would do, and you know, I'd go into the bathroom and I'd close the door. Well, they'd get on the other side of the door and yell at me through the door. But if I got in the shower, I couldn't hear them. There's one who took 3 showers. I don't get it. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do is think about your situations, okay? And this is something I want you to do, because next time I'm going to ask you about these, okay? Because next time we're going to hopefully get over to this side, okay? I want you to think about times when you've taken control, when you've known you're in a situation where it's been stressful, or where you've done something that causes you not to be positive in your interactions. What I was talking about memory too is that things happen. Many hands have built us. We don't all grow up just by ourselves. I think I mentioned that earlier. We have our teachers, we have Dave, we have our siblings, we have our parents, we have our grandparents, we have our whole culture that adds to what we do and what we don't do. And some of those memories can be both positive and negative. And what you need to think about is, okay, how does that affect me? Is it in a positive way? Is it in a negative way? And how can I use that to my benefit? Okay? Because there are some times where, like I said, mother tells you or father tells you you're not smart enough, or you can't do that because you're too little. I mean, some people are too short, some people are too tall, some people are too fat, some people. There's always something that somebody can, pick on you for. So what? We're going to get past that, right? We're going to get in control and be aware of ourselves and our emotions. And that way we'll be able to stay connected with the people that we deal with on a daily basis. Family members, your personal relationships, and work. Because I think all of you are already a step ahead because you're here. That means you're trying to move forward, trying to learn more, trying to find out, okay, how can I get ahead? AASuccess is a wonderful, I'm very proud to be associated with all of you and with this particular organization. But I want to be prouder of you because I want you to step forward and learn how to use your emotions to be positive and get someplace. Okay? Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? I'm sorry, Tree. Okay. All right. It's been fun. See ya. Clean up your mess.
Thank you.
No, guys.
Huh?
Oh,
No,
so wait,
this is the only thing
can
I
we take a picture of
Oh, they already did.
okay.
Yeah, they already did. Yeah, no, you can throw that away.